Look up again, because everything we talked about before, all those satellites orbiting above you, they don't stay there forever. None of them do. Every satellite has an end, and when that end comes, it doesn't just disappear. It falls. Space might feel empty, stable, unchanging, but orbit is not permanent. It's temporary balance. Every satellite in low Earth orbit is constantly being pulled down by gravity. At the same time, it's moving sideways fast enough to keep missing the planet. That's what keeps it up. But there's a problem. There's still a tiny bit of atmosphere up there. Not enough to breathe, but enough to matter, enough to create drag. And drag slowly steals energy, little by little, day by day, year by year, until eventually, the satellite can't stay up anymore. At first, nothing dramatic happens. The satellite's orbit just shrinks. Slowly, almost unnoticeable. But once it drops low enough, everything changes. Drag increases. Friction builds. Speed starts to work against it. And now, it's no longer orbiting. It's falling. When a satellite re-enters Earth's atmosphere, it doesn't gently come down. It slams into the air at thousands of kilometers per hour. And at that speed, air doesn't feel like air. It feels like a wall. Friction builds instantly. Temperatures rise to thousands of degrees. The surface begins to burn. Metal melts. Components break apart. And what you get is something that looks like a shooting star. Bright. Fast. Gone in seconds. Most satellites burn up completely. They disintegrate before they ever reach the ground. Turned into tiny fragments. Ash. Dust. Gone. But not always. Larger satellites, or ones made with heat-resistant materials, don't always fully burn up. Pieces can survive. Fragments can make it through the atmosphere. And those fragments don't fall slowly. They fall fast. Still moving at incredible speeds. Still carrying energy. And they land somewhere. Most of Earth is ocean, so statistically, most debris falls into water, unseen and unnoticed. But sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes debris lands on land, in deserts, in remote areas, occasionally near cities, and when it does, it's not predictable. Because once a satellite breaks apart, its pieces scatter. Each fragment takes its own path. No control, no precision, just physics. Right now, the risk to any single person is extremely low, almost zero. But that calculation was made when there were fewer satellites. Now there are thousands, and that number is growing every year. More launches, more systems, more objects, which means eventually, more re-entries, more debris, more chances. Not immediately dangerous, but increasing over time. Companies like SpaceX are launching massive satellite constellations, while organizations like NASA and European Space Agency continue expanding missions. The goal is global coverage, better communication, more data. But the side effect is simple. More objects in orbit means more objects eventually coming down. Satellites are part of a cycle. Launch, orbit, decay, re-entry, repeat. And that cycle is accelerating. Faster launches, shorter lifespans, more replacements. Which means the sky above you is not just active, it's constantly changing. Now imagine something more extreme. Not one satellite, not a few, but many at the same time. This could happen if a solar storm disrupts systems, or a collision creates debris, or a chain reaction begins. Suddenly, multiple objects lose stability. Multiple orbits decay, and multiple re-entries begin across the planet. If that happened, the sky wouldn't feel calm anymore. You'd see streaks of light. Not one, not two, but many. Burning across the atmosphere, breaking apart, fading again and again. It wouldn't look like a meteor shower. It would look unnatural, because it would be. The real risk isn't debris hitting you. That's still extremely unlikely. The real risk is systemic. Because if satellites are falling, that means something else is happening. Systems are failing. Orbits are unstable. Infrastructure is breaking. And that affects everything. GPS systems weaken. Communication networks degrade. Weather monitoring becomes less accurate. Global coordination slows down. It doesn't collapse instantly. It degrades. Gradually. Layer by layer. The sky above you isn't static. It's not permanent. It's a system we built. And like any system, it has limits. It wears down. It breaks. It needs maintenance. And sometimes, things fall apart. Literally. Right now, above your head, there are thousands of satellites moving at extreme speeds. But every single one of them is temporary. And one day, each of them will come back down. Most will disappear in the sky. Some will not. But all of them are part of a cycle we've created. An invisible system above the world, constantly moving, constantly changing, and eventually,